reflects how their their actions is being impacted by the attitude of another person. So the question is, how is your ability, your own ability, your personal ability, how are you able to influence the way people think? How are you able to influence the way people think on your job, in your business? Particularly, the most important thing is your customer. How are you able to influence the way your customer is thinking? How are you able to influence the way your colleagues are thinking? So, like I said, leadership is a skill that runs the length from easy to train, downright to challenging to develop. It is very difficult to develop, but it is very easy at the same time. So some people acquire this naturally. Some people go through practice and application. Now, there are certain people who learn leadership by observing other people, picking up a role model, or getting mentors. If they are lucky, they go through the training and programs through the osmosis process. You observe, you see somebody who is a mentor that you admire what the person is doing, and you begin to follow the path of the mentorship. I'm a product of mentorship. I've had various people mentor me through life. The most powerful mentor in my life is my father. I learned a lot from him. Then the next person was my brother, who happens to be my first brother. I have two brothers, my first brother, then my second brother. So my two brothers kind of influenced my leadership skills. They influenced my leadership ability, including my dad. And one of the areas my brothers influenced me was through books. I remember that it was in 1993, 1994 that my brother gave me a book titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that thing changed the trajectory of my life. So a lot of us on this call right now, we are experts in our fields. We have the technical knowledge that have brought us to the role that we are playing currently. So beyond the title and the position you occupy, how do you now transition from your technical expertise to strategic leadership? What is the transition model like? Starting from the screen, the transition begins not only just from your technical expertise, but it progresses to your ability to engage in continuous learning through books. I am a product of books. Books that I found on my father's shelf in his bedroom, books that my dad was reading. I'm a product of that. From there, I acquired my knowledge base. The knowledge base helped me transit to analytical thinking skills that I've developed. And those are the basic components that you require in strategic leadership. Continuous learning, you must learn outside of your technical expertise. You must learn, how do I speak to people in a way that is not condescending? I had, in my growing up years, when I started out in leadership, I made some mistakes which I was not aware of. And that's what leadership gives you the opportunity to do. Leadership exposes your weaknesses and your strengths, and it gives you the opportunity to unlearn and relearn. It gives you the opportunity to acquire new skills, to know this is not the way to do things. This is how best to do things. This is not the way to, it takes you through that struggle to becoming an effective leader. And there, in focusing your expertise, you now discover that it is not enough to defend your turf, especially those of us who are managers who relate with other co-managers at work. What the technical experts do is that they focus on their technical competence. Now, let me tell you how technical competence works. When you know your job so well as an engineer, as a lawyer, or anything, you get results for your organization. They recognize you for it. And by so doing, they make you the head of department. That means you became head of department by virtue of your technical expertise. But that does not confer on you leadership abilities. It only confers on you recognition for the job that you have done. However, in managing your group members, in your team, managing your departmental members, and relating with other people in the business, including customers, colleagues, staff, it requires much more than your technical expertise. It requires much more than your technical expertise. And this is where we now say that leadership is a set of behaviors. As behaviors, new and existing leaders can see it, learn it, and get better at it. It's about behavior. And one thing you must understand is that this is when you need to get involved in leadership development processes, which is very crucial in helping you transition from what was your comfort zone before to embracing the challenges, to embracing uncertainties, to embracing problems, and to now use the skills that you have acquired to solving those problems. It is this point that you begin to learn tools to approach leadership effectively. And to become an effective leader, Another thing you need to have is that whilst you learn, whilst you're acquiring skills, whilst you are building your knowledge base and your analytical skills, you are building what I call a broader perspective, understanding the organization from a larger context. You're understanding your business from a larger context that even though my business is selling toothpaste now, is there possible that an invention will come that will change the model of how I do business today? Many years ago, a lot of us, if you want to take photograph, we have to go to the photographer's shop. Is that not it? Or we buy Kodak film, buy our own camera, then we take the film to the shop of the photographer, they'll process the negative. Then they'll now ask us to come back and print it when they process the negative. That business model, a lot of people made money from it. They were the big photographers of those days. But do you think that business still exists today? How many of us see people who buy Kodak film? Now, Kodak itself, the company has folded up. But they were the biggest company at the point in time when it comes to pictures and photos. But they folded up. What happened? They did not scan technology and they did not scan the future to know that something was going to hit them one day, that the current business model they were running is not going to be operative. Today, you and I have smartphones. Smartphones, we can take our picture and keep it. We don't need to print it anywhere. Today we have Instagram, we have Facebook, where you can upload your picture without fear that water will pour on the film, or water will pour on the picture. That's how to scan the future. So whatever nature of business you are currently in, are you scanning it to review and see what is going to happen in the future, where you begin to diversify your business or develop your business in such a way that you are hedging against possible issues that may arise in future? That's leadership. It's about innovation. It's about change. It gives you a broader perspective and understanding of the organizations in the larger context, especially as it has to do with market forces, as it has to do with the importance of long-term strategy. Look at what the dollar is saying right now in the country. A lot of businesses are folding up because of the exchange rate between the Naira and the dollar. Why? Because their product and services is heavily dependent on foreign exchange. So someone last year, January, could have sat down. I had clients where I sat down last year, January, and discussed strategic foresight with them. We're telling them, and one of the things I noticed about their business model was that their business was heavily dependent on foreign raw materials, foreign products. And I asked them, can you begin to localize these main things that you are doing so that it edges your business against the challenge of sourcing for dollar? The CEO, as at this year, was thanking me about 2 months ago for the plans we worked on last year. For 6 months, we're working on developing alternative options. That is strategic leadership, where you're able to have foresight into what the market forces are saying, into what the long-term strategy is saying, where you are looking at the fiscal policy of the government, you are looking at the environment, the political terrain, you are looking at things to make decisions. I can't go fully into this. I'll just touch on this. So as we round up, strategic leaders have what we call, there's something we call the T model of leadership. The T model of leadership. It's popularized by a man called Andy Kelly. But before I go into that, let me quickly do an explanation on this expertise thing that I'm talking about as you transit to strategic leadership. I said that expertise is a potent mix of drive, intellect, and experience. So don't mistake the fact that you are highly intellectual and you are experienced. It gives you the strategic leadership positioning. No, what that gives you is expertise. Expertise is the starting point for strategic leadership development. It is not strategic leadership. The fact that you are experienced, you have the intelligence and the intellectual capacity, and you have the drive is the starting point. And that is purely expertise. And at the level of expertise, you spend time building your base knowledge. You're learning ropes. You are getting to lay your hands on the terms and the processes and the procedures for the business. You are developing and refining your ability to think analytically. You are diving into the surface of the problem. You are looking beyond what is obvious to everybody. You are driving and getting results. That is expertise. Everybody needs to have that. Everybody at some point will have that. What makes you an expert is not what makes you a leader, not to talk of a strategic leader. It's a different component entirely. So I have to emphasize that striving for mastery of critical knowledge and experience in the job is simply It's simply mastery. It's simply what we call expertise. That is why you see somebody can be appointed to become a governor because he's a successful businessman. And when he becomes governor, he fails. Why is he failing? Is it because he does not have the experience or the expertise? No, it's because the leadership skills that are needed, the leadership bent, the strategic bent of leadership is missing, which I said what is a soft skill. It's about relationship, it's relational ability. The expertise does not. So that's why you see some people become manager and become supervisors, and they fail in their leadership role. For example, in 2019, I had the opportunity of consulting for a company in Canada. And I remember that there was a gentleman that they wanted to promote to become vice president. The guy had gotten results, made so much money. He made about $120 million for the company for that particular year. And they were to promote him. And everybody sat down on the board. And they said, yes, you have gotten the results, you and your team. They said, but they have a concern. You have made money for the company. They said, we have a concern. We can't promote you to become vice president. We are afraid. And everybody was shocked. They said, we noticed that you have the ability to crush anybody and step on toes and step on anybody's head to achieve what you want to get. They said, whilst you are getting a result, we are afraid that you do not have the requisite leadership skills and the human relationship skills to run the company in the position of a vice president. You are going to destroy our people. You are going to hurt people's emotions, hurt people, abuse people, and we don't want that kind of leadership. We appreciate you at this level of making money for us, but we don't appreciate you at the level of vice president. Everybody was shocked. That's how that guy did not get promoted. He had the technical competence to do the job. He was an expert in making money for the company. But the company said, no, this your behavior gets us results, but it does not get us the kind of company we desire to run. That was a big blow. Somebody said, then why then did you retain him? Why then did you allow him to make money? Technical expertise without people skills, without leadership skills, will result in failure. And where that happened is because the gentleman's gifting, the gentleman's expertise was not in alignment with the value system of the organization. One of the values of the organization is respect. And they said respect is not about their clients alone. It's not about their customers alone. Respect was about their staff, their people. This guy did not respect his colleagues. He did not give them honor. He did not give them recognition. He just stepped on their head just to get whatever he wants. You know those people that they will crush anybody and everybody to get what they were. They were so forceful about it. And that was exactly this guy's temperament. He succeeded on the business, made money, but the attrition rate in his department was very high. People were resigning and people were leaving the job. People were suffering from psychological abuse, emotional abuse on the job. Why? This guy is just focused on the result. He was more task-oriented than he was relationship-oriented. And that's what expertise does for you. That's the difference. I have to explain that for you, rather, so that you understand it. Now, let's move on. So most people become supervisors. They become senior managers, directors, chief executives, because they have the expertise in what they do, but it's not what makes them leader. So an expert lawyer can become a senior advocate. An excellent teacher can become a head teacher. A great doctor can become a medical doctor, a medical director, sorry. A great doctor can become a medical director. The innovative engineer can become the chief engineer. However, the problem is that the expert power that got you recognition and respect in your technical expertise doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will become an effective leader in the organization. You must notice this. The fact that you are an expert in your field does not guarantee that you become an effective leader in your organization. The legal expert doesn't often know a lot about quality assurance. The legal expert doesn't often know about marketing. The legal expert doesn't often know about engineering. The legal expert doesn't often know about sales. The legal expert doesn't often know about financial analysis. So often, the technical expert is quite adept with a detailed knowledge of their area of expertise. Regrettably, this is sometimes accompanied by a mindset that is only concerned about their own area of profession, at the detriment of the broader business picture, the bigger picture of the business. So a lot of people are just focused on their own field of expertise, that they don't have a bigger picture. So that's why for those of you who attend management meetings, you'll see why people quarrel at management meetings. You'll see the head of sales quarreling with the head of marketing. You see the head of marketing quarreling with the legal advisor. Everybody is so selfish and so concentrated on their own area of expertise that they are not looking at the broader picture of the business. And as a business owner, the CEO, you must be mindful of that when you see that attitude in your staff, that focusing on your department, focusing on your own area of expertise will not guarantee effective leadership that will benefit the organization in a broader picture. And that's where the problem always is. So when you go for meetings, you have to be open-minded. You have to be open-minded to how you cross-communicate with the departments whose job affects your job, whose performance affects your performance. This is where we solve the problem of communication silos. When the marketing department wants to hide information from the sales department because they think they want to outperform the sales department. They want to get the award for the best department of the year. This is where the asset management department fails to communicate with the corporate affairs or admin department, not knowing that everybody works together. There is a sync in working together. And that's at that level where you provide leadership. And not just leadership, effective leadership. Having said that, I can't exhaust all that information today, so pardon me. Let's go to where the strategic leader operates. There's something we call the T model of strategic leadership, the T model type of leadership. That T model talks here about the vertical T, where the engineer, the doctor, the lawyer is an expert within their comfort zone. Therefore, the leader living in the vertical only concerns themselves with the area of influence. And they can be oblivious to their executive team members' concerns, their challenges, while sitting through top meetings until the discussion infringes on their own area of expertise. This is where everybody begins to claim tough. So vertical leaders are only focused on the short-term goals. They're obsessed with operational issues. In my own organization and the organizations that I lead and the organizations where I serve, I don't allow people to drag me into operational issues. When somebody sends me a message, the question is, how do you identify operational issues? Issues that does not reflect the broader picture of the organization. Issues that can be delegated. Issues that can be assigned to someone else who has the competence and the expertise to get the job done. Those are operational issues. And I tell a lot of MDs and CEOs that I consult with that you cannot afford to be dragged into operational issues. You cannot afford to be dragged into operational issues. It is unfortunate that a lot of business managers micromanage their staff and get sucked into operational issues and lose focus on the broader picture of the strategic options they have. That means you have to have a bird's eye view of issues in the business environment that you are operating in. So at this level, the leader is focused on the external, the market forces, the business faces, and how it interacts with its customer. That's where the strategic role comes into play, where you monitor and watch what your customer behavior is reflecting. What are the trends in the industry? What are the trends going up in the industry right now? Look at TV stations in Nigeria. To set up a TV station is becoming very easy. Just create a YouTube channel, pay for YouTube. You can run a TV station. You don't need to have, there's some basic things that are coming up now that are going to change the landscape of broadcasting very soon. Some have started changing. Now you have radio stations online, whereby I don't need to be in Lagos or in Abuja to be able to listen to certain radio stations. I can listen to it online, technically. So there are different dimensions that are changed. So the question you're asking yourself as a strategic leader now, leaving the area of your expertise, that what are the different events happening within the business environment that can affect our business in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? How can we strategically plan and position ourselves ahead of that? How is the social environment? How is the environmental factor going to affect us? How is the policy of government going to affect us? CBN policy, banking policy. You need to be able to make projections. And that's why people like us come in. That's why our own area of expertise, where we take businesses through that particular model. We help you to identify the long-term projections of your business and the changes that need to occur. At this level of the top team of the team model of leadership, you must interface and cross-pollinate ideas, not only within the department, but between your customers, your possible clients, what is happening in the industry. Cross-pollinate in such a way that you give priority to the organizational strategy, in such a way that as people are developing their leadership competence, developing their perspective of leadership, as they are growing, you are syncing everything together in having an effective leadership for your organization. And leadership is not about you, who is the owner of the business. It's about the people working with you. As you are growing, you must be growing. If you are reading a book that is helping you, don't hoard the information from your team. Share it with your team. Share it with those who are in managerial positions with you. Share knowledge, share books, share interaction. Invite them for meetings like this. Get them to attend trainings. Send them on trainings. Equip them. This is where you transition from that vertical to the horizontal level. This is where you transit from the vertical to the horizontal, where you are learning, where you are relearning, and you are learning, you are relearning, and you are learning. Not just only for your benefit, but for the benefit of your staff. Some people say, oh, but if I train my staff, I spend money on training them, and they leave me to go and take up opportunity in another place. They will never forget you. It is to your own benefit. Don't think about it from a selfish perspective that you are spending money on them. No, they deserve it. Somebody spend money on you for training too. Oh, you might say, oh, nobody spend money on me. I trained myself. Let me tell you, it's a seed. You will reap it. You will reap it. If you don't invest in your staff, you will reap it as a seed. If you invest in your staff, you will reap it as a seed. Whichever way, you cannot run away but reaping, you will reap it. So don't be selfish. Don't be thinking about yourself. Don't spend all the resources on your own alone, on yourself alone. Don't buy yourself a new car when you can provide resources for your staff that can help them help your business. When you invest in them, they will invest in your business. If you have the resources, if I were to be you, if I have the resources, instead of buying myself a brand new car, because a brand new car will always come out every new year, I will invest that money in sending my staff to go and do a short business training. Send them to Lagos Business School, go and do a course. Send them to Foundry, let them go and do, send them on trainings regularly, no matter how little it is. Invest in training your staff, both in the area of their technical competence and in the area of their leadership ability. Invest in them. I have organizations who have brought 3 of their staff at senior manager level, senior management level for me to coach. It's costing them a lot of money. It's costing them a lot of money, but they are seeing the benefit of it. They are seeing the benefit of it on the long run. Now, let's move to the next slide. I want to end up here now so that we go to the panel and I not waste time. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to say. One of the things I tell people is that there's a pervasive force that we call managerial gravity that puts the entrepreneur or the business owner back into day-to-day problem solving, which distracts them from the strategy challenges and eating up their time to manage details. Because that's what you do as a businessman, but you manage details. So the top T there lies the challenges and the uncertainty with new problems, new opportunities that push us out of our comfort zone. That I can give you a conversation in future about that. And this is where leadership development steps in. So for you to understand where you are, there are 5 echelons of leadership that I want to end with today. The first one is called the positional leadership. This is the entry level. I explained it earlier when I said most people enter this level of leadership by being appointed or by being given a title. This position, this title is what gives you influence over other people, but it is not leadership. It is not leadership, but just merely because you are productive and you have an opportunity to lead. So maybe 3 people, they say, okay, they made you team leader or they made you supervisor. It's usually because of your technical competence, not because of your skill level. The next one is leadership by permission. And let me say something quickly before I move to the next one. The first echelon. For most people on this level, it is based on 4 things. It's based on the protocol, it's based on organizational chart, it's based on territorial rights, and it's based on tradition. Those 4 things are reflective on this echelon of leadership, this positional leadership. Most people at this level of leadership became the manager or became the leader by virtue of protocol, just merely fulfilling protocols. Then they put you there because they need to fill the gap on the organizational chart so that your name too will enter organizational chart. Number 3 is to protect territorial rights. You know, people who matter, this is my office. My table must be bigger than every other person's table. My chair must be longer and higher. So if you go to an office, if you want to identify who the manager or the leader is, their table and their chair is always different from every other person's table and chair. That's not how to know that you are a leader. The size of your table does not determine the size of your effectiveness or the depth of your effectiveness. So that's why you see that they have a bigger table they have coffee table by their side, they have the printer next to them, they have the ink, they have all the equipment, then the other staff will have to be coming to his own office to print. That's how you show that you are a leader. No. I said that so that some of us can relate with. So when a person's leadership ability is based by control and intimidation, at this level of echelon 1, people at this level, their leadership is based on control and intimidation. I see a situation where people were laughing and giggling before, but when their manager walks in, they stop giggling and laughing. That is intimidation and control, and it happens in a lot of organizations. Why can't people bring you into the joke that they were having before you walked in? Why is it that when you walked in, they went quiet? Then that means there's a problem going on there. They are only following you because of your title and because of your position. If they remove your title from you, they remove your position from you, some of them will not respect you anymore. Some of them will not respect you anymore. They will not even take cognizance of anything you say. So any leadership that is based on control and intimidation and quarrel and yelling and fighting, that is not a leader. So people don't follow such a leader beyond their stated authority. People who stay at this level find it difficult to work effectively with their staff and their colleagues in the organization. And it consequently affects your overall productivity and, most important, the overall productivity of the business. At this level, you should move further to level 2, to echelon 2. The echelon 2 is leadership by permission. Leadership by permission. This is when your right to lead is not by selection or appointment from authority figures. It is simply by recognition by other people who see you as someone who is proactive, who takes initiative. You are seen as proactive. You are seen as someone who takes initiative and adds value to the business. People begin to respect you. One of the things that comes by this echelon of leadership is respect and recognition. You don't have a title necessarily, or they may even give you a title. But one of the things that shows here is that people respect you because of the quality of output, the quality of the job that you are doing. They give you recognition. And one of the major signs of knowing that you are in leadership at this level is that your performance is based on your heart, not your knowledge. You have a heart connection with the process and the business. You have a very cordial relationship with people. You are very good at connecting with people's hearts, the heart of the customer, the heart of your colleagues, your clients. So you operate by your heart, not by your head. The head is where the expertise is. The head is where the skills is. The head is where the intellectual capacity is. The head is where the knowledge is. But that does not make you a leader. It just gives you an entry level into leadership. What connects and establishes you in leadership is your heart. Your heart connects with people, the processes of the organization. You become caring about the needs of the organization. You become desirous of people running the business. You show care for your colleagues, for your staff who are co-running the business with you. You make them see themselves as co-owners. You don't say, this is my business. I own this business. You cannot tell me what to do. No, you say, we own this business together. You are working together. You don't say, oh, that's my staff. So, oh, that's my colleague. It shows in your semantics. It shows in your vocabulary. You don't use derogatory words for your colleagues. Whether you are the owner of the business or you are the other, don't say, oh, that's my junior staff, that's my junior colleague. Your colleague is colleague. It's only Nigerians that introduce junior colleague and senior colleague. There's nothing like that in English word. It is called, please, go back, please. It is called colleague, not senior colleague, not junior colleague. There's nothing like that. Colleague is colleague. Anyone that addresses another person as junior colleague is suffering from inferiority complex, low self-esteem. They have to pull other people down in order to look important. Anyone who addresses another person and say, oh, this is my junior staff, oh, this is my junior colleague, it's an indication of low self-esteem. That person is suffering from low self-esteem. So if you care for people, people know that you care about them, they will naturally allow you to lead them. They will naturally form a very solid and lasting relationship with you that they will trust you. Number 3, the leadership by production. This is where you get results and make profit for the organization. The characteristics at this level is that you make results happen without hassles. You make results happen without hassles. You boost the morale of the people. The morale is high. People are motivated. One of the ways in which I build morale for my staff when I work with them and I want to do performance appraisal, sometimes, you know what I do? I take them to an amala joint, a local amala joint, and I'll ask them to pick anything they want. They pick the soup they want, and I'll pay for it. We'll eat them. Sometimes we go and watch a movie together. That's the way I do appraisal. That's the way I do appraisal. I take them to an amala joint. I put them to a local joint, White House in Yaba. Sometimes we go as far as maybe somewhere in Alausa. We look for all the nooks and crannies of where to eat very hot amala with gbegiri. When they are busy eating the amala and sweating and enjoying themselves, that's when I'll be discussing the performance appraisal with them. Do you know why? If you do it in an office environment, their guard will be high. They'll be tensed. They'll be thinking you wanted to slam them. But when you do it in a very relaxed atmosphere, it's motivating for them. You boost their morale. They know you care for them. When I travel abroad and I'm coming back home, I buy things for my staff. I buy shirts, I buy shoes, I buy a tie. I give them gifts. When they are getting married, I support their wedding. I pay for their wedding suit. I pay for things. I introduce them to cheaper things. They want to get a house. Maybe somebody's coming late to work all the time. I say, okay, why are you always coming late to work? Okay, don't worry. Get into my car. Let's go. I'll take you home. I take them home for that period. I see what I want to experience, what they're experiencing. I want to experience the traffic that they're experiencing. I say, okay, I look for somebody, okay, let's join you with this person to be bringing you home. You are living in Ikorodu, right? Okay, no problem. I know somebody who comes from Ikorodu every morning. Okay, Madam Soso, can you please help me bring this, my colleague from work every now and then? He's always coming late. Please help me bring him. And that's how I solve the problem. The one that I feel their house is far, we go look for an alternative place that is close by to the office, an affordable accommodation where they can live. That way, they will be more productive on the work. They'll be more productive on the work. Me and them, we exchange movies. I tell them about the movie I watch. It's not work all the time, be discussing work. Discuss things that concerns them. Ask them about don't say, how was your night? Nigerians say, how was your night? You don't have any business with anybody's night. What you should ask is that, I trust you had a beautiful night. It's so wrong for you to ask somebody, how was your night? What's your business with my night? Are you a banje or a witch? Were you monitoring me when I was sleeping? Why are you asking me how was my night? That's the wrong English. Hope you had a restful night. Hope you had a good night's rest. Hope you enjoyed your night rest. When you ask genuinely, ask out of concern. Not ask because you just want to mark the book of asking questions. When, sometimes, then avoid always putting your staff under pressure at night, sending them late emails. Some jobs cannot escape that. Some jobs have that. But you don't earn the right to do that if you have not earned their trust and their confidence. You have to earn their trust and confidence first before you begin to put them under pressure. When you earn their trust and confidence first, trust me, they'll be the one to go to any length for your sake, whether it is middle of the night. And that's the way to do things. So morale must be high. Your turnover is, in terms of profit, will be high as a result of that. You make leading very fun. You make leading fun. You go to interesting places. Maybe there's a concert, you go to watch the concert together. Maybe there is a movie. I do that with my colleagues a lot. We go to watch all interesting movies. We buy tickets. We go to watch a movie together. We go to the beach. We do all those fun stuff together. Life is not too serious. For God's sake, stop me being too serious about life. Then, if you have the opportunity, pray for your staff. Pray for staff. Help them solve their problem. By doing that, you have become a leader by production. You have become a leader by production. People will begin to emulate you. They will see you as a role model. They will begin to do the same thing that you are doing. They will begin. Now, you can't be the boss and be coming late to work. You must be the first person to come to work. Then, those of us who have this habit of saying, because your gap not close, other staff too should not close, is wrong. It's an abuse of people psychologically. The contract the organization signed with you is 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. When it is 5 p.m., allow your staff to go. There's traffic on the road. They are living in a far distance. So forget this abusive Nigerian orientation of saying, because your guy is still at work, you cannot leave. And those of you who are guys at work, who penalize your staff and victimize them and become vindictive because they left you in the office, there was work to be done. There will always be work to be done. Work doesn't finish, my brother. Let them go to meet their family. Let them go to meet their children, especially the nursing mothers, especially the women. The women should not be allowed to leave office late because they can be robbed on the road. They can be robbed. You need to be out there. Let me say it in Yoruba. Out there is tight. Look at what happened in the news yesterday with One Chance happening all over Abuja. People entering One Chance buses, One Chance vehicles, putting peppermint in their eyes and peppery things in their eyes and stealing money from them. You have to discuss it with your colleagues. You have to show concern, show care, show love for them. That is leadership by people development. It's just not by salary. Don't make it there by pay your salary, I don't owe your salary. Make it show that you value them, you treasure them. Lastly, leadership by personhood. Leadership by people development. I just said number 3. Number 4, leadership by people development. A leader is not great because of his or her power, but because of your ability to empower other people. You must empower other people to succeed. I used to have a guy with me who was working with me as an executive secretary. He was interested in HR. It is HR he wanted. You know what I did? I went to CIPM office. I got him the CIPM form to become a chartered personnel management expert. Bought the form for him, enrolled him in the exam, and I gave him 2 hours at work every day for him to stay in the conference room to read and prepare for his exam. Today is an HR manager somewhere else. That is my development and my contribution to that person's life. That's my contribution to his life. You must get to the point whereby you are not threatened by the success of your people. Somebody wants to do a master's program. If the master's program is going to cost them 200,000, can the organization say, okay, this master's program that is costing you 200,000, can we give you 100,000 out of it? We'll pay you on 2 installments. We'll pay you 50,000 now, then another 50,000 later. You are investing in that person's life. That is how to be a leader by people development. You must overcome the challenges of insecurity, your personal insecurity. Then you must develop emotional intelligence in the way you relate with your staff, when you relate with your colleagues. That is one area I had to work on. You can't be an angry boss that will be slamming door, that will be yelling when your staff make mistakes. People will make mistakes, but forgive them. Don't become vindictive. Don't say, oh, I'll remove from your money the way you made that mistake. Come on. Life is hard. Don't make it harder. Life is hard. Be emotionally compassionate towards your colleagues, towards your staff. Be emotionally compassionate. That is leadership. That's why I said it's about the heart and not about the head. It's about the heart and not about the head. It's about the heart and not about the head. Emotional stability. At this level, you develop others. You expose them to what you're exposed in. If your staff doesn't have an international passport, encourage them to get an international passport. Encourage them to travel out. Encourage them to go to Ghana, go to one of the beaches in Ghana, go to Zambia, go to Gambia. Let them travel out to let them experience what it means to enter a plane. If you have a staff that never entered a plane before, let it be by reason of you that the person got on a plane. Buy them a flight ticket or pay for half of their flight ticket. Make investments in their lives. If they have a baby, maybe one of your staff does give birth to a baby. Celebrate them, buy them baby things, give them cash gifts. Invest in their lives. That is how to do it. The last bit, my time is up. Leadership by personhood. At this leadership position, you are at the level of expertise because you are growing and you are maturing. You are reading books, you are taking trainings. Irrespective of the fact that I have a PhD in leadership. I have a PhD in strategic leadership. I've written books on leadership. I've been written several articles on leadership. Let me tell you, I'm back to school. I'm still learning. I'm back to school. I'm still learning. By the grace of God, next year, I'm going to be partnering with some people in China where I'm going to be serving as their agent. I want to learn the leadership principle from the Chinese Confucius theories. I'm also learning from the Asians. I'm learning from the Europeans. I'm learning because learning does not end. You have to keep on learning and you have to keep relearning. Especially those of us who came up from the environment where we came up from. There's a lot to unlearn. There's a lot to relearn. So here of personhood, like I mentioned earlier, you need to have sound ethical values. You don't need to be lying to your staff. If you lie to them, they will lie to you. Don't become so intimidating that they'll be afraid to tell you the truth. I don't like it when people work with me and they cannot tell me the truth. Anybody, I like a leadership structure where my colleagues can look me in the eye and tell me the truth respectfully. Tell it to me with wisdom. Don't say it rudely. Say it with wisdom and let's hear the truth. A lot of problems around leaders is that they have people surrounding them who tell them lies, who doesn't tell them the truth. And you'll be the one responsible for that. It is your attitude that will inform whether people are scared of you to tell you the truth or not. Create an environment where people are free. They can share their mind. They can make mistakes. Allow them. Give room for people to make mistakes, not mistakes of illegality, not mistakes of immorality. I mean mistakes that are genuine, that are innocent. That way they will learn and grow. Stop slamming people for making mistakes. Stop slamming them. So you don't need an attachment or office at this level. This is the level whereby you become an institution. You become a point of reference. This is the level I have been gunning for all my life. A level whereby I become an influence broker across organizations, where I've become a working institution. With these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that there's a need for you to transit from your expertise level as a leader to become an institutional leader who have a strategic view of the work that they have to do. I'll end here. Let's just scroll down to the last page of the slide for everybody to see. Some people are sending me messages, asking me some personal information. All the question is on the last slide that can be answered. Please, whoever is helping me with the slides, you just scroll to the last slide for people to see. Let me end here and we join the panel. All other information you can always get in the future. Those are my emails if you want to contact me. Those are my personal information. You could always reach me at any time. I'll stop here. This is not all to it that I know. There is so much more that we can learn about strategic leadership in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that amazing session. Again, if we had more time, of course, we would have really loved you to just continue. And just like the Nigerian slang, you actually shattered a lot of tables right now. I could see the reactions of people, even in our own community, even, oh my God, this session is interesting. Oh, thank you, Kanji. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Smidan. It's really amazing. And thank you so much, sir, for making our time for us today. And of course, we are still going to be taking in questions. But before we get on the questions, please, we also have some of our speakers here, and I'm actually just going to be bringing them on board one after the other. And we'll have Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya. Again, please don't go anywhere because Dr. Toye is still going to be taking questions, but we just want Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya to share some insights based on our theme of today's webinar session.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Ma. So good to have you, Ma.
It's so good to be here. Hello. Thank you for having me. And hello, Dr. Shubhande. It was such a great pleasure listening to you. Great learning points and really excited.
Thank you.
Okay, so how many minutes do I have?
You actually have a 10 just before we get into our question and answer session.
Okay, all right, so I'll keep it at 10 minutes then. Okay, so Dr. Shubhande has really made it very, very easy, and I love that he was able to connect with a lot of cultural context. You know, it just makes it so relatable for us. Just good looking at how he was able to bring it all together. So I'm just going to add a few things to the conversation. I won't be sharing slides so that we can just talk about, you know, some of the issues in the time that we have left. But quite a number of things that I would like to draw our attention to, that a lot of times when we talk about leadership, for us, the focus is usually outside of ourselves, right? We want to look at the business, we want to look at our team members, but I usually say that the first point of contact when it comes to developing leadership at all starts from the place of self. And unless you're able to lead yourself first, which is usually the hardest part of it, right? It's usually the hardest part of it. We want to tell people what to do, direct them, instruct them, because that's how we have been shown to lead. And, you know, I usually say that a lot of times we don't even show up the way we want to show up. We show up the way we have been shown how to show up. So we have, you know, seen our parents lead in a particular way. It's been the carrot and the stick. It's been with a lot of high-handedness. We've come to the workplace. We see how people shout, you know, how people get into a state of hubris, where it's all about them. They're the alpha and omega. And then we bring it to the workplace. Now, when we come into the workplace, manage our businesses with such behaviors, it automatically it actually disqualifies us or disconnects us from the place of strategic leadership, right? Because leadership in itself heralds around influence, okay? And when we can influence people, we actually get the best of them. But we cannot influence them if we first cannot influence ourselves. So the starting point of the conversation around leadership actually begins with you, and it begins with you going on a journey of self, trying to understand who exactly you are. Now, I say that for a lot of entrepreneurs, founders on the journey of life, right? We're dealing with a whole lot. I kid you not, we're dealing with a whole lot. Things from the internal space, from the external space, some you have control over, some you have absolutely no control over, right? But you want to come from a place where you first start from within. How to understand yourself. What are your strengths? Because we all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. I like to call them growth areas. We all have our growth areas. So what are those areas that you need to work on? When Dr. Shobade spoke earlier, he spoke about a place of some entrepreneurs just focusing on the technical part of it. Yes, you have to go beyond the technical competence of what you know to really understanding what should you know as a whole, right? From the place of yourself, what are your strengths? And when we talk about strengths, a lot of people think it's just one easy thing. What are my strengths? Until it's time for you to actually put pen to paper. I've seen people struggle with coming up with one strength that they have. Some people understand or they're very familiar with their weaknesses. They can give you 15. If you give them a sheet of paper, they will come asking for an extra sheet. But then ask them about their strength, they struggle. Some are very good at identifying their strengths, but then they'll tell you, I don't even know what I'm weak at. No, for you to come from a place of strategic leadership, objectivity, awareness has to be the foundation of that. So which means that you need to understand yourself enough. And for you to get to the place of understanding yourself, also know that you cannot provide all the information you need to understand yourself by yourself. And what do I mean by that? It means that you to rely on information that you get from yourself, but then you also have to rely on information that comes from outside. Now, this is where a lot of leaders also get it wrong, right? We have an idea of what we want to hear. We know what is pleasing to our soul, and then we kind of dismiss those things that we really don't want to hear, that don't fit into the narrative that we want for ourselves. Note that when you're going out into the world, interacting with people to get to know more about yourself, start from a place of open-mindedness and understanding that whatever feedback you get is data. We need to start seeing feedback as data other than, a tool for destruction or a tool for, or a tool of attack. We need to just change our mindsets around it. And I understand when it looks like a lot of times when we hear feedback, it's always been negative. It feels like a lot of people undermine your efforts, but then they magnify your failures. So you want to come from the place where you first recondition yourself and know that even when some of this feedback is coming from your team, is coming from your customers, even in ways that you ordinarily may not like it to come, get to the point where you build your awareness to the point where you can actually sieve out information and know that this data that I have, what can I do with this information, right? Sieve out the information. What information do I need out of this? How can this impact my life? How can this transform my life? Is there any truth here? Or is this something that I need to check in with someone else? That is exactly how you build your leadership muscles. You cannot build your leadership muscles by deceit. Okay, deceiving yourself and letting other people deceive you. Now, the truth is that a lot of times when we ask about ourselves from others, they want to tell us the nice things, right? They want to tell us the nice things. People don't really want to say bad things about you, especially when they're telling you to your face. And that's because people also, from place of experience, have noticed that people don't like to hear the truth too. A particular guy shared an experience in his organization where a leader asked somebody on his team to give him a feedback about himself. And then he said, feel free, just tell me, what do you think? And then he felt so free that 2 days after he got a letter of termination, right? So we shouldn't be those kind of leaders that cannot take the truth. If we really want to come from a place where we're able to move our businesses forward, we have to be able to deal with the truth, and that comes from the place of awareness. We also need to constantly build on the place of our competence, right? Competence from the place of technical competence, I can't overflog that, but competence from the place of human management. When Dr. Shobande spoke, he spoke a whole lot about how we can interact with our team, how we can get the best out of them. We need to understand that we're not in rivalry with our team members or people who work with us. No, the whole essence is to be able to create an environment where there can be trust, where people can be truthful. A lot of employees constantly keep lying because they cannot tell you the truth. You have created an environment where truth is forbidden, even though you say it with one mouth that I want people to be truthful, but the other part of it, when people come telling you the truth, you come heavy-handed on them. So you want to come from the place where you're building your awareness from the place of self, you're developing your competence, your technical skills, your human skills, and also your conceptual skills. It is very, very important that as a leader, you actually make out time to develop your ability to think, to solve problems. That's why you're in business in the first place, to be able to solve problems. And please do not mistake critical thinking for critical worrying. A lot of leaders are great at worrying. They just go around the problem, talk about it for days, and then days go into weeks, and then weeks go into months and years, and then no solution. No. As a strategic leader, you have to come to a point where you have this question in mind. What is the solution to this problem, right? And of course, it doesn't mean that you take away the place of identifying what root cause, and all the other things, but then you always have at the back of your mind that you are here to solve a problem. So you want to build the muscle for critical thinking. And one of the ways that you can do that is to build the muscle for reflection. A lot of us go weeks, days, years without making time to think. We assume we're thinking because we're constantly worrying about something and romancing a problem. No, if whatever we're doing is not focused on solving a particular problem or helping us find solution to a problem, you are only romancing the problem. So come from the place where you're developing your competence. You also want to come from the place where as an entrepreneur, a founder, you are building your emotional intelligence. You're building your emotional intelligence, right? Building your emotional intelligence to the point where you can deal with setbacks, you can deal and navigate issues, right? There are times where I'm in meetings with my team and then people say things that, it didn't come out right, okay? But then it's not for you to say, no, in your life, don't ever talk to me like that. Don't ever say something like, no. It's for you to be able to understand where are they coming from, right? And be able to deal with that situation, help them, understand what exactly they want to say and ensure that you're getting the best possible results out of it. So please take note that for you to be a strategic leader, you also need to develop your emotional intelligence. A lot of times we're hearing emotional intelligence, but then we assume that emotional intelligence is about coming from a place of, what's this character now? Barney. Yes, where everything is happy, there's no problem. People come into the workplace looking for a shoulder to cry on. No, that's not what emotional intelligence is all about. It's about you being smart with your emotions, you being smart, being able to leverage your emotions to achieve the results that you want. But that requires you constantly growing, constantly unlearning. I used to start from unlearning because a lot of us have so much to unlearn before we can get to the place of learning, right? And then being on that journey of relearning. Understand that the journey of leadership is one that will require you to keep growing. It is a continuum. So it will not be about the number of books that you have read that would help you become the best leader in the world. No, right? It's a journey that you constantly keep learning. So please invest in knowledge. Invest in knowledge. Invest in knowing things that are going on around you. You need to open your eyes. You need to open your ears. You need to open your mind. A lot of leaders are just focused on the business in itself, but then everything happening in the society, how policies are being implemented, how they are affecting your businesses, how they will affect your businesses in the next 2-3 years, industry trends, we have absolutely no idea of. Okay, so these are things that we need to work on. You need to thirst for knowledge. You need to thirst for knowledge. And sometimes some of this information may not be directly related to your business as such, right? But there are information that would help you make decisions that will significantly impact your business. So what is happening? What is the, for example, if you're in Nigeria, what is the budget, right? What are some of the changes in the budget? What are the allocation? You need to have an idea of all this. Is not because you are an economist, but somehow some of these things impact how you would approach your business, right? Where's the government pumping money? Which sectors are they pumping money? How does it impact your business? How can you find some form of collaboration or partnership within that space? This is exactly what strategic leadership, strategic thinking is all about. And when we can get to that point where we see our businesses beyond the naira and kobo coming in every day, to start having a foresight around what does the future hold for us as a business? What does the future hold for us? It totally shifts your mind and puts you in that place where you now start asking questions and being proactive rather than being reactive. And just one thing that I would like to leave us with, as I wrap up this brief conversation is, we as leaders need to understand this concept, and the concept I'll share with you is the concept of the dance floor and the balcony. The dance floor and the balcony. So imagine that you are in an Owambe, okay, and then there's a balcony somewhere. There's a dance floor, and then there's a higher level, like a balcony, where you can stand and see things happening on the dance floor. Now, if you are on the dance floor, where all the activity is happening, what would you see? How far would you see on the dance floor? How far would you see? You'll be able to see things around you. But then imagine that you go up to the balcony and then you're looking at the things happening on the dance floor. How will that perspective shape what you see? What I want to leave you with, as we go into the other sessions and then the Q&A, is that as a strategic leader, you need to understand the place of the balcony and the dance floor in your business so that you do not get so stuck being on the dance floor. And the dance floor is the operational everyday activity where you're so stuck in it that you don't want to let go. You're so familiar with, the everyday hands-on thing that even when you start having your team, rather than delegating duties or activities or responsibility to your team, you're still doing the mundane things. When you're supposed to be on the balcony taking strategic decision, you're the one still thinking about, do we have fuel in the generator? Have they bought? Who came at 9 o'clock? When you have HR, you have an admin officer. So please note that as you go on the journey of strategic leadership, also understand when you should be on the dance floor and when you should be on the balcony. The best leaders know exactly when they should be on the absolute balance around the Q&A. And just were able to take one or two things out of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya. That was an amazing session. Really, really applaud you for the insights shared as well. Again, this has actually been a transformative webinar session. The reviews have been coming in, even on our committee, as I stated earlier, and it's been an amazing session so far. For those that are not aware, Ms. Kemi is a renowned leadership development strategist, a management consultant, and she's also an author and the creator of the Dozen Model Leadership Framework, and she's the member of the prestigious Forbes Council. So please, and of course, she's also the co-founder of the LeaderX app. And right about now, we are going to be going on to our Q&A session where we'll be bringing in other speakers as well. So on this call, we also have Dr. Kole Dawodu Olubumi, the Lagos State SMEDAN Director. He's here with us as well. We also have Mr. Bolaji Cole. He is the director of the Center of Entrepreneurship at Yabatech. He's also here with us as well. And of course, our keynote speaker will also be joining us for the Q&A session. So we are going to be having all of our speakers on the call right about now. Hello, Mr. Bolaji Cole. Thank you for making our time for us today. Can you hear me, sir?
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
So good to have you join us today, sir.
Thank you.
And so, sir, I know we've actually gone past the scheduled timing for our session, but and I would say as an educationist, of course, from the part of the institution, basically, what's your insights regarding strategic leadership and how, for instance, for the Center of Entrepreneurship at Yabatech, how are the plans made towards, ensuring that entrepreneurs from the institutions are also getting to be enlightened in the aspect of strategic leadership?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
A lot has been said by Dr. Shubande and Mrs. Ogunkoya. Leadership is a journey in life. There's no way you're going to escape it. Even if you are the last born in your family, along the line, you have to be a leader. I will relate more with what Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya said. Leadership starts from you, the individual. You have to be a leader to yourself before you can lead any other person. You have to discover who you are. Are you a timid person? Are you a goal-getter? Are you an extrovert, introvert, or an ambivert? So you must discover who you are. And by so doing, when you know who you are, you start having that confidence. A confident person is a successful person. A depressed person will eventually end in failure. So you have to discover who you are and lead yourself. When you have discovered yourself and you're able to lead yourself to success, passing first secondary school, first school living certificate, higher education, then you start looking at the global world. I want to set up a company. I want to work with a company. Then you start having a worldview. Your worldview is changed gradually from time to time due to the number of people you experience and meet in your journey of life. Here at Yabatech, we train students on leadership while taking the entrepreneurship course. They are grouped into a small group of 10, which is a nano enterprise, and they learn the rudiments of leadership in all facets, learn to be task-oriented, learn to take responsibility, learn to lead others, and be led. Am I on? Can you hear me? It's light. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you clearly, sir.
So in the course of leadership, you must have a vision for yourself. You must set your own vision of what you want to and how you want to live your life. In the journey of your life, you are going to interact with people. How well will people perceive you? Just like Dr. Shubande said, how will people perceive you? Comes down to how well you lead. A number of us in our communities will lead due to the antecedents of our parents. Your parents have been forthright, honest, hardworking. They will give you certain opportunities in life due to what your foreparents, your forebears have done. And you get those recommendations based on the fact that they did something good. And they say, okay, we can entrust you with this position. Everyone, every young person in the community is also a leader in one way or the other. It is how well you discover yourself. Whether you are in your church or in your mosque or your neighborhood, you are a leader or a mentor to somebody. That's why we have to be careful the way we live our life. When you are upright, when you are a goal-getter, you are a success, somebody is looking at you and telling their own children, can you see Mr. John? Can you see Ms. Dupe? And they bring out those attributes which you don't know at times, and they tell their own children or their own family that try and emulate this person. So we must be careful at times the way we conduct ourselves. A lot of people look up to us, but we don't know they are looking up to us. I also want us to look at the fact that leadership is something about we giving service to humanity, service to our fellow beings. Dr. Shobandi mentioned junior staff, senior staff. It's really a concept of Nigerian English, or a concept of Nigerian mindset. We have that concept when you say, is my junior in secondary school, is my senior in secondary school. In higher institutions, there are no juniors. You might have junior year, senior year class, but they don't say that's my junior. So that concept has crept into the workplace, and people have imbibed that to say, oh, it's my junior staff. You are going to have staff that you might be senior to in rank or in age, but you must learn to work with them. If you are working in an organization, how well do you respect and obey the rules and regulations set out? How well do you encourage your staff? As leaders in small and medium enterprises, we must learn to carry our staffs along. For those in the nano industry, you have staff about between 3 to 5 or 5 to 10. That's a small, neat organization. How well do you relate with them? You come to work to know issues that are affecting their productivity, because you must know those problems and you must set out to solve those problems. You cannot set targets and goals for them, and they don't have the tools to achieve the goals. So leadership is all about mentorship. You are mentoring people, and you must also learn to be mentored. And you must learn to seek advice from your staff. Don't look down on them to say, what do they know? When did they start business? If they have ideas about starting business, they would have started their own. I am the owner of the business. No, you must learn to listen to them. You must have a listening ear. You must feel their pains. You must be empathetic. What are they going through? What are the challenges they are facing in achieving the tasks at work? If it's a small unit where you work in an organization, probably in any, probably a financial organization, and you are head of a team, what are the challenges your team are facing? How can you help them to overcome those challenges? Can you make a representation of their challenges to HR so that they can do better and produce better? Leadership is all about building a team. You must build your team and create that cohesion. You must create that understanding that everybody is on the same page and they can work and have each other's back. If that is missing, certainly a lot of things will go wrong with that team. So we must learn to face our challenges. And challenges do come in a number of ways. Challenges do come in the team. And as a leader, you must learn to overcome those challenges. You must learn to carry them along and think things out. Take time out to think things out. As a leader in an enterprise, particularly in a nano or small enterprise, a number of those companies have workplace conflicts. And those conflicts must be resolved. If the cohesion or working team does not have that synergy, you will not achieve productivity of the highest order. You will always have issues on a daily basis. And it is best as a leader, you sit down to hear both sides. Don't be patronized. Don't side with with one worker against the other. You must learn to hear them out and give them the opportunity to express their pains, express their problems, and then you can sort it out. I hope I'm being able to touch a number of things, a number of issues that they are meant to the leadership environment.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that amazing insights, even in such a very short time. Thank you so much. And we'll still be taking questions in because we already have some questions that we'll also be sharing with all of our speakers. But can we have Dr. Olubunmi Koledaudu?
Yes, good
Hello,
afternoon.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. It's good to have you join us today's session, sir.
Thank you very much.
So I'll just go directly with the question, and then you can also share your insights based on our theme for today's webinar session. Now, as the Lagos State Director for SMEDAN, of course, SMEDAN is an agency that actually provides support and also creates policies around that will be policies that will be beneficial to SMEs and MSMEs. So I would like to ask this specific question. What are the programs or initiatives that have been put in place that would actually assist these entrepreneurs in developing their strategic leadership skills?
Okay, thank you very much. Your question is, it's a bit, it's like 2 in 1, okay? Firstly, what programs, put in place for SMEs, and then the leadership qualities. Of course, maybe the program, of course, would hammer on the leadership qualities for SMEs. First of all, most businesses or business owners or SMEs stumble into that leadership position. Okay, some of them do not really have that quality of the leader, but have a business idea, and then they want to execute the business idea, or probably put that business idea into good use, and then turn it into a profitable business or a venture. So most of them don't even think about how to be a leader or want to be a leader. Yeah, maybe on the second thought, some of them will have been thinking, okay, I need more staff, I need somebody to head HR, or I need somebody to do my accounting process for me. I need somebody to do finance, or I need somebody to do supplies, or I need somebody as an assistant. It starts like that, and so they learn on that job. So what SMEDAN has been able to do is not that all of us are in SMEDAN, or staff of SMEDAN have that leadership quality. We also applied for job, and then we also want to be on the payroll of government and then work. So, but for some of us, leadership rests with us. And if we have an engagement with SMEs, we usually come up with issues like this to talk about leadership and how they can scale some of the hurdles that particular quality will bring that from them or with them. So we intentionally partner with organizations or institutions that have experiences in sharing with SMEs, or those that have learned about leadership, like Mrs. Ogunkoya, right? Organizations like that, to come have a session with SMEs and teach them or talk to them about leadership and how they can overcome some of the hurdles or challenges. I'm just hearing for the first time the dance plan, the balcony myself, and I thought, oh, I have used this principle in my own work, but I didn't learn it from anywhere. It just occurred to me. And you have people like me, 1,001 or a million of people like me like that. So we need to be intentional about teaching business owners, SME owners, about how leadership is a great quality that they need to have to run their enterprises. So ours is just to partner a lot with organizations like that. So if we have organizations that have those qualities, yeah, they can approach us when we organize programs or training or to build capacities of MSMEs. We can invite, and then we can talk to them and we could also run a session, a collabo together, maybe co-create a special program for SMEs. We are open to all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. So right about now, we also have some questions. This is going to be a general questions to all of our speakers. So the major or one of the questions that has been shared across, it states, leading a high-performing team is essential for effectively achieving business or company goals. However, the question arises, how can entrepreneurs and founders encourage their team members to be fully involved in implementing stated company goals? So let's start. Let's get a response first from Dr. Emmanuel Toye, before we have our speakers also sharing their views on it as well.
Thank
Hello,
you.
sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Well, the question is, where did the goals emanate from? Was it thrown and brought to the meeting and said, okay, these are the company goals. So yeah, staff, come and achieve the goals. There has to be a buy-in. There has to be a buy-in. You have to allow the ideas behind the goals to originate from those who are going to implement it. As a leader, you might know where you are going, but it's best for you to bring your ideas to the table and get feedback from your colleagues. Get feedback from people on the table. For example, we have a cultural practice in our family. My wife and I, a few years ago, almost about 6 years or 7 now, sat our children down and we asked them a question. What is it that mommy and daddy does that you don't like? What is it that we do that you don't appreciate, that you are not happy about? It was a suicidal feedback session. And they look at themselves and they started laughing. They were laughing. And in my interpretation to that laughter is that, do you guys really want to hear what we have to say? But you know what? We have never stopped having that kind of a meeting with our children. Why are we deliberately doing that with little kids? Kids don't have holds. They don't have political agenda. They don't have restraint in terms of, especially if they're your blood, they want to say it as it is, they want to be open, they want to be forthright with you. So what we were doing was to experiment with our family values that we have defined. And one of the ways in which we are trying to groom our children is to help them gain the competence at a very young age on where they are free to respectfully share their thoughts. So they will not go to a place of work or an environment where they're intimidated, they cannot share their thought because they don't want to offend anybody. So it was also to help us as parents offload our own cultural baggage. Well, I grew up in a home whereby my father gave us the opportunity to talk to him and give him feedback and share with him what we are not quite pleased with. It was revolutionary for me. He didn't have the benefit of that with his own parents, but he inculcated that into us. Myself and my siblings, my sisters, my brothers, we have the opportunity to question our dad respectfully to get feedback. When he has an idea about something he's doing, he shares it with us, we give our feedback. I replicated that in my own family with my kids. So what I'm saying is this. One of the most powerful things to get people moving, to get people to do things for you, is take yourself out and stop behaving as if you are the Alpha and the Omega. You are not the Lion of the tribe of Judah of your business, of your family. You need to offload that orientation where you superimpose ideas on the staff and tell them to go and do it. When somebody works with me and we are on the table and we are curating ideas, one of the things I ask the others on the table is that, what do you think about this? Especially if the person is quiet. Some people, they have ideas flowing in their head, but they don't have the verbal prowess to package it in their words in such a way that others can understand. They struggle with it. So when I notice such a person, my job is to help the person gain expression, be able to express him or herself. So those are the people I look out for on the table. And I won't allow one person to dominate the conversation all through. What are we doing? We are curating ideas. Because of the different temperaments of the people on the table, some are sanguine, some are choleric, some are melancholy. Of course, the people on the table have to have gone through a series of personality tests for you to evaluate the way they make decisions, for you to evaluate the way they see life, how they perceive life. Some people may come across as negative. They are always the one punching holes in every idea. You need people like that. Some people are always full of ideas, but another person say, calm down. Government regulation says we cannot do this. You need to have those people on the table. That is the way to approach setting goals with your staff. Let them join you in making those goals. You have your own ideas, quite all right, but listen to them. Make it an all-encompassing engagement. Let them document the ideas. They now determine the line of action and who is responsible for what. If you approach it from that perspective, you'll see that your staff will be more engaged, more dedicated. They will have what I call a sense of ownership. They will own the goals. They will own the ideas, and they will sacrifice their time and their own personal resources to getting that thing done because you engage them in that decision-making process. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, for that amazing insights. Again, time is actually against us. We might actually just take one comment from one of our speakers, and we'll have Kemi Ogunkoya just take that, just share our insight as well based on the question that was shared earlier.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next time, please comment before Mr. Shubandi or Dr. Shubandi, because he says it all. Thank you so much for that. He has really covered the length and the breadth of that. What I would like to add to that would be that, when we communicate, you want base of alliance, but when we're communicating, what I realize is that we assume that communication is something you do once. So we have told you what the plan is, what the vision is, right? Get it. But that's where the frustration actually comes in, because when we're talking about people coming to the place where they actually buy in, where they own that vision, where they become co-visioners with you, it is not a one-night stand. It's not going to happen because you have said it once and then they're attending meetings. No, you need to first also understand that everyone sees things differently, and that your employees, from the beauty of their diversity, also have different ways in which they see the world. Some of them are very visual, so you can paint the picture for them and you say things like, in the next 5 years, see this, and they can see it. Some people, you're telling them, in the next 5 years, I see, they can't see nothing, right? But they may be more kinesthetic, they may be more into their feelings. So you want to be able to connect with them in that way where they can feel what you're saying. Some are very auditory, so it's about how you say it, about the words that connect with them. So for you to get to that point as a leader where you can take people on your team on a journey, you first need to understand the people that you're also dealing with, right? So there's a place of the alignment, there's a place of constant communication, but there's also the place of leaders being coaches, right? And that's the dimension of leadership that we all need to be able to embrace. Leaders as coaches, which means that part of the things you need to equip yourself with is the understanding of people management, so you need to understand the range of diversity on your team, from their personality expression to how they see the world, right? The perception of the world, so that when you're communicating this, you've not left half of the team behind, or even maybe 80% of the team, where you're just saying, this is what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Do you understand? And then they say yes, and then you assume that they understand. You want to be able to engage them. What exactly do they see? Because I've also seen situations where the leader gets the picture, right? And they're able to articulate this vision. But in the minds of their team members, that vision looks like a suicide mission, right? It looks like this is something we can never achieve. So if you're not coming from the place where you're able to translate this big, audacious, hairy goal into manageable, bit-sized information that they can handle, then you will be working alone. I've seen a situation where a client spoke about, there were, and this happened in a religious setting, right? He was talking about how they were going to move from 500 members to 1,000 members. And a team member, who used to be very active, stopped being active. And the person said, engage with this person. And then the person said, if we become 1,000, then it means that, we won't have this closely knitted family anymore. Now, that was a genuine fear for this person that had to be addressed. So when we come into the place of leadership, don't let us everybody is on the same page. Everybody understands just like you get it. No. Come from a place where you can actually relate with everyone on your team and engage with them in a way that they understand, in a way that's personality, a whole lot better for you.
Okay, Ms. Kemi, I think we lost you. We can't hear you clearly.
Oh, for real?
Oh no, just a few minutes before you rounded up.
Oh, okay. So I think what I was trying to say, I'm just going to wrap that up now, is that ensure you're not on the journey alone. Understand where your team members are, because for the 20 years, and then you expect the other person to catch up in 2 seconds, right? Ensure that you actually meet them where they are, understand where they are, understand their personality, understand the nature of the diversity on your team, and then be able to carry people along in a way that they understand, and that way you're able to, ensure that co-visionaries, rather than taking it on all by yourself. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for that amazing insight. And right about now, we are going to be rounding up our session for today. But right before we do that, again, we actually want to give a honor to whom honor is due, like they say. I'm sure I didn't actually share this information earlier. But so we'll be rounding up our session now. But first off, we want to acknowledge our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Emmanuel Toye Sobande. I hope I got it. I'm definitely going to work on that. So thank you so much, sir, for honoring us with your presence today. And again, at the Next Innovation Park, we're always, looking forward to honoring most of, I'll call them the champions, actually our professional experts that have been of support to specific ecosystems. And again, one of the ecosystem that Dr. Emmanuel Toye has actually been impacting, of course, is the leadership and entrepreneurship aspect. And again, today we just want to honor you for the amazing works you're actually doing in that space. And for that, this is just a small, I won't call it, no, it's not. So this is just our way of saying thank you so much, sir, for the major impact you've made regarding leadership and also entrepreneurship. And so we are going to be unveiling that right about now. Yes. So again, would have really loved this to be a physical event, just so we can have this, but notwithstanding, Dr. Toye is actually based in the US. And again, when he's physically around, we'll definitely be doing this honor with a physical event. But we just want to do this right now, just because we have him on the call. So we are honoring our amazing keynote speaker today, Dr. Emmanuel Toye, with an International Merit Award. Again, like I stated earlier, this is a testament of his unwavering dedication and pioneering role in shaping the world of entrepreneurship and leadership. And again, this award is exclusively bestowed upon outstanding individuals who have not only carved a new path of thought of a national and international scale, but have also established themselves as the most recognizable brands in their respective fields of endeavor. And again, sir, your achievements are unparalleled, and your impact, of course, resonates globally based on entrepreneurship and leadership. And we are saying thank you for the impacts that have been made so far. Please, I want to say a lot of congratulations on the comments on the chat box. We are not here physically, but I want our keynote speaker to actually feel the impact that he has made, just even less than an hour being on this session. So thank you so much, sir, for everything that you've done regarding leadership and entrepreneurship. Of course, we'd definitely love to hear some words. I guess that's also going to double as our closing remarks for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. I don't know how to write. I've been writing speeches, but I don't write speech for. Maybe I was going to call someone else to come and help me write a speech on this. I want to appreciate you all for the privilege and opportunity to be here. And the turnout here tells me there's a hunger for knowledge, and there's a hunger for collaboration, particularly for businesses and for people around here. And I'm grateful to God that Light, the Nest, the Foundry, and every one of us here, we are doing everything within our possible best to ensure that we help. I started out my career as an accountant. Then I translated and moved on to becoming the lawyer. And while I was doing that, I became very passionate about SMEs, particularly from an intellectual property perspective, because I fought for quite a number of businesses from the angle of intellectual property. And because while I was doing that, I was also a teacher. I was teaching. My first work was to start as a business studies teacher. I was teaching business, teaching social studies, and I've seen the hand of the Lord, how he has helped me consistently over the years to remain focused in this aspect. And I'm not surprised that I find myself still being drawn to the same thing. And I think that's the saving point for Nigeria. That's the saving point for our environment. I remember when I was in college, I founded businesses. I sold all sorts of things. I did photocopy business. I did pure water business. There's no business. I did Okada business. There's no business I've not done. So that's why I was answering somebody when the person said, oh, how about my cleaner and messenger in the office? Should I refer to them as a colleague? I said, yes, because the person talking to you today used to be a cleaner somewhere, used to be a messenger somewhere, but it's a different ball game. There are some people who used to be my boss when I was nobody. Today, they look up to me, and I'm not bragging about it. I've not only helped them, I've helped their family when they're in crisis situation or financial situation, but the tables turn over the years, so the tables can turn. So honor everybody at every level, at every opportunity you have. Honor everyone. Nobody's better than any other person, especially for a young person, a young growing business. Things can change. So I want to honor everybody here. I want to say thank you to Mr. Bolaji Cole. He's been on the call since morning. He sat down there patiently listening. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody. Mr. Kemi Ogunkoya, the famous guru. I'm opportune to meet her here and to connect with her. And Light, also my birthday mate.
Yes, sir.
I heard we were born on the same day. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you. December people are always shining the light. We are the brightest month in the year. So everywhere, they always the light everywhere. Thank you for being light in for being light to the business community. I want to say that let's collaborate more. Let's do more for people. That is the saving point for Nigeria. Businesses are the saving points for Nigeria. However we can help, please be free to reach out. and let's help. Let's collaborate more, especially with Smedan. I did some trainings I did about 10 of it, 50, about 500 for entrepreneurs, free of charge some years ago. I'm not saying I'm going to do it free of charge now, but I'm just telling you, we've come a long way and we are going to continue to do it. But you know what? Don't shy away from training and retraining. Don't shy away from personal coaching. Don't shy away from leadership coaching. Don't shy away from this. It will help your business. It will help your colleagues. Thank you for this honor. I pray God honors you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And it's so good to have you. And thank you for the, kind words. Of course, that's also going to motivate us to actually do more. And of course, we'll definitely be looking forward to having you on board on all the initiatives and programs that we have curated for the business community as well. Thank you so, so much, sir. And we also want to appreciate our other speakers. Of course, we have the Smedan Lagos State Director here, Dr. Olubunmi Kole-Daodu. He actually was in a very important meeting with the new DG of Smedan, and of course, he still had to make our time to be here. Thank you so, so much, sir, for coming on board and also, saying yes to our invitation as well, even with your schedule. Thank you once again. And also thank you for the insight shared during today's session. I also would love to say thank you to Mr. Bolaji Cole, the Director of Center of Entrepreneurship at Yabatech. Thank you so much, sir. I know most times his schedule is also very, very tight, but he still made out time to even be here on time and also be on the call from the beginning to the end. So this is us saying thank you so much, sir, for your unwavering support to the next innovation path. Thank you. And thank you also for the work you're doing at Yabatech. Also, we want to appreciate our speaker. Again, the last but not the least, of course, Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya. Thank you so much. She has actually kept in touch even from the very first day we shared an invitation because she wanted to be a part of this for the business community. And she has been a major support to the business community in general. So thank you so much, Ma, for making our time for us today. Thank you for your support thus far. And of course, we look forward to, bringing you on board as well on our other initiatives and programs that we'll be having for entrepreneurs in our community. So thank you once again, everyone. Of course, you also made today's event a success. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your engagement so far. I could see the comments coming in, even on the call and also in our community. Thank you so, so much for coming on board. And once again, I think we normally do this whenever we have a program. Would request that everyone turn on their videos. Please turn on your video and then we'll take a picture. You should also take a picture as well. Again, you're going to be sharing your lessons, the insights shared today. And of course, you'll be tagging our speakers here. We'll definitely be sharing across our speakers' social media handles. So you tag them to your posts and also to your comments on social media, on your various social media pages. So thank you all so much. It was good having you all join us on board today. So you can take a picture right while we are here. I can see most videos are actually on.
So for those people asking me for a meeting over Amala, we'll be interested in doing that. I love Amala, so I can be joining you. If you're ready, we can fix a date and time. Someone said, of all the leadership things that I spoke about, is the Amala that confused in the US and be taking staff to Amala. He doesn't understand. You don't need to understand. Let's just show up. Let's fix a date. We'll go for the Amala together.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I think we are done for today. And if you still have more questions, of course, we couldn't take those questions now. Please, you can share on the community and I will definitely share across to our speakers, especially the ones, Dr. Tony Emmanuel. I'll definitely share that across to him if you want him to answer specific questions that you may have. If you also want Mrs. Kemi Ogunkoya to take some of your questions as well, please just share it on the group or just highlight the specific speaker that you would want to answer your questions so we can share across to them. So thank you all once again. And thank you to our amazing speakers, of course, and also to our keynote speaker, Dr. Tony. It was good to have you. And of course, we're looking forward to hosting you so we can celebrate the award physically at our space, at our office, and we can also have our business community also coming present to also celebrate it here as well. So thank you all so much. And officially, we've come to the end of today's amazing session. Of course, we'll definitely continue to do this because the next session we're actually planning forward to is again, it's going to be on your well-being as business owners. There's always this, working around the clock. We are trying to push to enlighten, I won't say push, to enlighten our entrepreneurs about resting. So again, the business needs you and it needs you healthy. So you can't just be working around the clock and your body is actually suffering and all of your needs, personal needs, family are actually suffering. So please, we're going to be pushing an update regarding that event. We're already in talks with one of our major speakers in that area. So we'll definitely update you all about the event. So thank you once again for coming on board. It was good having you all and seeing you all again, even after our last program. And thank you so much once again for coming on today's event. Do have an amazing day ahead.
All the messages, I'm going into another presentation immediately right after now.
Okay, sir.
I'll respond immediately after.
All right, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Balaji. Is he okay? I thought he's gone up. Thank you, sir, for coming on board.
Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for staying on the call as well. And of course, we look forward to having you join us on another of our initiatives that we'll be having. And just to state this out publicly, where the Yabatech, they're actually creating a global entrepreneurship program for entrepreneurs, basically majorly the student entrepreneurs, but all other entrepreneurs are actually welcomed to participate in it. Of course, there's going to be an exhibition. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. You can send me a DM. It's going to be in Lagos. Yabatech is in Lagos, so it's going to be in Lagos. So if you can make it out for the Global Entrepreneurship Week that Yabatech will be hosting, of course, that initiative is hosted and powered by the Center of Entrepreneurship at Yabatech. And Dr. Mr. Bolaji Cole is going to be our amiable host for that. So do well to reach out on that. So thank you once again. And those that were asking me about the recording, if it was available, of course, this is actually being shared on YouTube. So definitely we'll be uploading that on YouTube. So you can go over it again and watch just at your convenient time. We'll share the link across just so you can have access to it for those that don't know our page on YouTube. So we'll just share the link to you via your emails and also in the community. So you can have access to all that has been shared so far. So thank you all once again. This is me officially closing out from today's session. So bye from me to you.
Bye.
Bye, sir.